All right, hello everyone. Welcome, Zachary and everyone else who's already with us today. Today we're going to redesign Staryu and Starmie. The concept is from Infinipede, and they will tell us about it very shortly. But I wanted to warn you. I've been having this problem with OBS, with the streaming software. When I'm recording, like just recording, not streaming, sometimes it just closes and doesn't give me a crash report, doesn't give me any reason to figure out, any way to figure out why it closed. So it happened several times actually last week when I was recording the Tin Tower Talks episodes that came out just yesterday. It happened just now when I was recording with Infinipede and Banana Meteor for next week's video as well. So just heads up. Hopefully it won't quit while we are streaming. It's never done that before, but we'll see. I don't know. My level of confidence. Sorry, say that again.
First time for everything.
Exactly. And my level of confidence in OBS has been going down. But fingers crossed. So, as usual, joining me today are Banana Meteor, whose voice you heard already.
Oh, it's me.
Hello, me. And also Infinipede.
Hi.
So, let me put your sketch that you just sent us on screen, and you can tell us what your idea is.
Okay. So this idea is actually not a huge change from the originals. There's not a ton you can do with starfish.
Yeah.
But if you look up a starfish larva, they are quite a lot different than a adult starfish. They're very, very small. And they have a much different body plan than an adult starfish. So I wanted to make Starmie look like, or sorry, not Starmie, Staryu. I wanted to make Staryu look like a starfish larva while still having that sort of star shape. So what you're seeing is sort of like if one was swimming straight down but facing you. Like up top is actually the tail, and up on the bottom is sort of a quote-unquote snout. And Max Power has it completely right with Starmie. It is based on the Crown of Thorns starfish.
Okay.
The other thing I did with both Staryu and Starmie was I turned the gems into eyes, and it's supposed to kind of evoke the psychic type, as well as a very tiny callback to the beholders from Dungeons and Dragons, which are psychic.
Okay. I have not played Dungeons and Dragons enough to like know what that creature is like in the game itself, but I remember it from the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, where, if I'm not mistaken, the protagonists defeat a beholder by showing it a flower, because they defeat it with beauty in the eye of the beholder. It was something like that.
That's horrible.
I'm not huge into the like Forgotten Realms, like original D&D like lore, but to my knowledge, the whole thing with beholders is when they're asleep, they dream things, and their psionic powers are so great that what they dream just kind of comes to life around them. If somebody in the chat or Banana Meteor has better knowledge of like actual D&D lore, like correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't. That would be my husband who would know more things if he decides to pop in later and chime in.
If he hops on chat, let him know that we gotta talk about beholders.
Okay.
And I know that you don't play League of Legends too often, Ness, but this one also looks a lot like the character Vel'Koz from that, who has like this purple squiddy one-eye aesthetic.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Max Power says the stream just crashed for a second. OBS is still running, so we're good on my end. This might be a YouTube problem or potentially a the internet service problem, but so at least on my end, so far we're still running. Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand, because like Starmie, it's basically the same body plan as the Starmie that we know.
Yes.
But I want to make sure that I understand what the body shape is for Staryu. So it's like it's swimming straight down, pretty much?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
swimming straight down, and you are watching it from, like, the front.
Okay.
Like, at the very bottom is a sort of snout. At the very top is a sort of tail.
Okay. And the eye, then if we were seeing it like from the side, then the eye would be on top, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking, if you see that one Starmie pose that you put in the center right,
Yep.
that one might be cool for the Staryu.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't get too creative with poses for these two, but yeah, that pose on the middle right is obviously it's the most interesting one. Probably wouldn't work too well for your Starmie, but we can definitely do something like that for your Staryu.
Yeah, and I was thinking for the Starmie, we could do maybe the Staryu pose in the center. That has a bit of
Sure.
angle going on. So that might look cool with spikes.
Yeah. The eye that is a jewel, is that supposed to be kind of bulging out the way the jewels are, or?
Yes.
Okay. I also have to say I appreciate that you made the like, I don't know, the golden part, I guess, on Starmie. I appreciate that you made it with like 5 bands that go around it and not with 8 that just point randomly and don't match up with the 5 like arms, because that's always bothered me.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of like simplify it, but still make it sort of work.
Yeah, it's always bothered me. Like Staryu, the yellow part has 6 points, and so they don't match up with the arms. And then there's also just like one of the arms happens to have a band around it for whatever reason. And then on Starmie, the yellow part has 8 points and doesn't match up with the 10 arms that it has. It's always bothered me. So I'm glad that the way that you did it, it only has 5, and so it matches up with the spaces and it looks great.
I kind of like the idea that Serper Royal gave of Starmie kind of making UFO rays, because so many of like Starmie's attacks are beam attacks, like Bubble Beam and Aurora Beam and Ice Beam. So it could just be like flying around and like shooting out little like beam attacks.
All right. Let me make the space that I need on here. Let me separate out these two, because right now they're on a single layer. Okay, cool. Got those separate, and I will flip the pose references. To be grouped properly. Hey, 002, haven't seen you around in a while. How's it going? To be fair, they look more like space creatures now. Like something that would come out of a crashed meteor and cling to your face. Yeah. Oh, I should add in the concept description before I actually start drawing. So let's say starfish larva for Staryu, jewels are eyes. Let me make sure that I'm not going over the line. Eyes. Is the Crown of Thorns starfish the same one that Moraine and Toxapex are based on?
I believe so. Because the Mariani and Toxapex like eat Corsola, and there's a huge problem with the Crown of Thorns starfish eating like corals.
Okay.
I didn't actually know that Mariani and Toxapex were starfish. I always assumed they were like something different, but makes sense.
No, yeah, I always thought of them as sort of like sea urchins. Toxapex especially, because when it's like all closed up, essentially, it looks a lot like a sea urchin. But
exactly, I thought the same thing.
Yeah. Well, what do we know?
Yeah, starfish have like a polyp form, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's the word.
And yeah, as for 002, oh, we got a quick stream problem. Oh, never mind, it came back. I'm just keeping an eye out to make sure that.
Now now that I have two screens, which I didn't have last time, but now I have two monitors. So I have Photoshop on one monitor, and I have OBS open on the other one, with the stream chat open it on it as well. So if it stops, I will notice.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So 002, we put the concepts up on the larger image. So basically, Staryu is a starfish larva. Starmie is a crown of thorns starfish, and they both take a little bit of inspiration from beholders.
From D&D.
Yes, from Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't know if anyone would get that confused, but I figured it was better to be clear. Have either of you watched the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon? It's like from the 80s, maybe? It's really old, but I watched it as a kid, so...
Look at us. There's media that Libris has consumed that we have not, and now he gets to rub it in our faces.
Here, I actually have the DVD set for it.
Wow.
It's I have the DVD just because I saw it in a like discount bin at some point, and I was like, I liked this so much as a kid, I need to have it. Here's what the cover looks like. Does it say here when it was made? It's only 27 episodes, and they are like it's cartoon episodes, so they're like 20 minutes long or whatever. I have fond memories of this cartoon, but when I tried watching it again from the DVD, it was just, I don't know, a couple of years ago. It's pretty bad, and I don't think we made it past like episode 3. Yes, James, in Brazil it's called the Caverna do Dragão, the Dragon's Cave, or the Dragon's Dungeon, I suppose.
Yeah, that tends to be how a lot of things like that hold up, as in they don't.
They don't, yeah.
But you have the fond memories, and that's what's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of I still like the characters. Like, it had good characters, and I guess that's the main thing that I remembered. And also the gimmick of the dungeon master, who is sort of like a gnome kind of character, and so he just like shows up, gives some advice, and then he vanishes without, like, when the characters still have questions. Like, so he doesn't give all of the information that they want. But yeah, like, it has good characters. The cartoon has good characters, but the plots of the episodes were so nonsensical. Like the whole thing with him defeating the beholder by showing it a flower. It just comes out of the blue completely. So it was a little bit difficult to really enjoy, because it's just like, well, I guess anything can happen.
Yeah, and if it's marketed towards kids, it's not like kids understand, like, idioms very well, so...
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's not really, like, completely out of the blue, because someone does say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, like, earlier on in the episode. And so, like, I guess that counts.
Technically.
I feel like in the context of D&D, somebody just rolled a natural 20 on, like, haha, I'm gonna show the beholder a flower, and then
Yeah.
just died.
As I go through this very rough sketch here, Infinipede, I'm gonna need you to tell me if what I'm doing is lining up with what you had in mind.
Nope.
Yes, a Deus Ex flower. Exactly.
That's my favorite Deus Ex game. I've never played any of those games. I've heard they're good, though.
I have also never played any.
Yeah, I think they're like a series of sort of cyberpunk-themed games.
Do I have this more or less correct?
Yeah, no, that looks good.
Okay. Yeah, I think the angle is not quite right, but well, I don't know. It looks like it's bent a little bit, but maybe it just is bent. I'm glad that you're enjoying the background music. I can barely hear it, so, and Infinipede and Banana Meteor can't hear it at all because they're on Discord chat and not on the stream, so if any bad music comes on, let us know, and I will skip it.
I just have to imagine the music. We get to vibe in silence.
I mean, if you really wanted to, you could put, like, headphones or earbuds in one ear so you can hear the stream on one ear and hear the actual conversation on the other ear.
Right, it just
And
seems complicated, though.
No, it wouldn't be confusing at all. What are you talking about?
headphones, or earbuds actually, so.
The angle of that one tentacle facing toward you is definitely tricky. You've picked a tricky one.
The arm that is
The
like...
one coming right at you.
Yeah, it's a... But it's not really a full arm, right? It's almost like a beak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a little beak-like.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little nubbin. Maybe I can draw the eye. You know how when you look at a cat's eye from the side, you can like really see the angle of the pupil and the thickness of the lens on top of that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's very cool.
It's very cool. So I wonder if I can draw this eye something like that. I'd have to get like the right sense of depth on the pupil, which may be challenging to accomplish, but if you have cats, look at their eyes from the side. Like, look up close, but from the side.
If they let you.
Yes, of course.
If they're not asleep all the time, don't pry their eyes open.
Oh yeah, no, don't do that.
Yeah, my main kitty cat probably spends like 23 hours a day sleeping. So.
Yeah, no, we do not condone animal abuse. Even if it is just to see the really cool eye. I understand the impulse, but don't do it. On Staryu, is the yellow part meant to be more or less just a pattern, or is it supposed to be like almost like an armor thing like the original one has?
Looking like armor, but more flat than the
Okay.
original.
Like, I'm pretty happy with the angles of the front. I think the angles of the back are more challenging because at such an extreme angle they would be less visible.
Yeah.
But we want to show it, so maybe I do need to lean into it being kind of bent a little bit.
Yeah, fine if they're a little bendy. I was thinking definitely like more sheet metal than like raised metal.
Okay. James Johnson, I like how you're changing the jewels into eyes and got some major upgrades to the original. I like it, and I think it's kind of a, I don't want to say like an obvious choice, but it's a simple way to make them a little bit more personable, even if they also makes them more creepy because of the eye. It is kind of a creepy eye, but it's nice for them to have a face, for them to have something that you can look at.
Yeah. Definitely a little more creepy without eyes because, you know, we tend to look at like something that doesn't have any sort of face. It's, I don't know. Starmie and Staryu are always a little creepy because it's like you can't look at anything. It's just a star.
Yeah.
I like inanimate object Pokemon, but I tend to prefer for mine to have at least some kind of face. Like, you know, like Magneton and Magnemite's eyes, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We support faces.
Yeah, I think you're making the pose look really good so far. I like how bendy it is.
Yeah, I'm very happy with my performance here.
Wow, so humble, Libras. No, it's
Well,
not great.
I mean, I'm not always happy with my performance, so sometimes I have to.
Struggle.
Yeah. Sometimes I have to praise myself.
I feel like the general flow of my art is I start something and I have no idea what I'm doing, and then halfway through I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great, and at the end I'm like, it's all right.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
pretty relatable.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, at least, this one came together much faster than I was expecting. Is there anything that you
Quickly
see?
and very competently.
Yeah. Is there anything that you see that needs to be different?
Not great, in my opinion.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm for it. You killed it.
Well, I don't want to kill it.
How would you kill it? It's so cute.
Exactly. Yeah, Staryu actually, like, it has a... Or this is Staryu anyway. It has a good combination of, like, cute and creepy. As every Pokemon should.
I mean, I feel like that's the thing with a lot of psychic types, especially early psychic types. It's like,
Yeah.
they gotta be at least a little, like, otherworldly, because they got, like, psionic powers and all.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something really kind of strange to humans, and it's always fascinating.
Alright, let's do a first pass at Starmie. This one might actually be... It might be a good idea for me to make it like perfectly symmetrical and then kind of transform it, at least as the first pass.
Yeah, for it.
Yeah.
Do newer versions of Photoshop have that thing like Krita has, where you can like do a perfectly symmetrical drawing by only drawing one part of it?
I mean, it has that. I don't know what this other software is or how it works, but here, you won't be able to see the symmetry lines. At least I don't think so. Yeah, it doesn't show up.
Yeah.
So the symmetry lines themselves won't show up in the in the stream, but you'll see as soon as I start drawing that I set up 5-point symmetry here.
No, Krita is, it's like a free Photoshop that doesn't suck like, Jim.
Okay.
God, I'm so used to working traditionally that you just like say things like that, and I'm like, whoa, digital programs can do that? And it's like, of course they can, but...
Well, I mean, they couldn't always.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it until Krita had it.
It's something I know that like modeling programs like ZBrush are really big on, where you can like mirror it, so you're not sculpting forever when you're making like a T-pose.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But I had to find that in my brain. My first thought was still, ugh.
Yeah, that's probably close enough. There might actually be a different symmetry option that might actually work better. Let me try this. If I do it this way, yeah, that will work better. I made a perfect star. Well, that's Starmie.
Yes. Starmie.
What kind
Be
of... sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, that'd be good if you were doing like a, like sort of like a vector-esque design for Starmie, where you just had like a repeating background with like a bunch of Starmies on it. That would look pretty cool.
Yeah. Is that what the shirt looks like? From like original Stitch Pokemon shirts?
I think so. I don't know. I don't know what the one for Starmie looks like.
Yeah. In terms of like the three-dimensionality of the eye here, how are you imagining it?
So you know on like a ring where they've got those like things coming up? Like to hold the jewel in place.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I'm glad you knew what Ness meant there, Libris, because I'm lost.
Yeah, I completely forgot what they were called, so I just looked up pictures of like diamond ring for reference.
Yeah, well,
Obviously,
they have
I
little.
simplified them.
Yeah, they have little nubbins, I guess, that holds the stone in place. I know because Indigo's engagement and wedding ring, it was custom. She actually designed it herself, but I was the one who took that to an actual like jeweler and it was like, how, like, can you make this, or can you make something close to this? And so I saw various parts of the design process, or of the like building process almost.
Sounds super cool. I'd love to see her concepts and how it came out.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I was gonna say to Banana, like, oh, but you're married, and then I remembered that you didn't wear a ring, which I cannot blame you for. I would not probably wouldn't want a ring either.
You mean not everyone's proposing with plush cows?
Plush cows? Is it a specific plush cow?
It's a very special custom plush cow, but one of my big things that I'd always kind of like half joke but like be serious about is really don't like the feel of rings on my fingers. I don't wear them, so I didn't want that for a proposal. But something I do really love that's extravagant and expensive, not nearly as much so as like jewelry, but custom plushies. So there was a character from the video game Them's Fightin' Herds that I was very fond of that my husband reached out to the plush maker that was attached to the Kickstarter and was like, hey, do you still make these? Like, is that something you would be able to do? And she was like, well, I really only did them for the Kickstarter, and they're all pretty complex. And he was like, well, I want to propose to my girlfriend with it. And she was like, well, okay, I got to make an exception for that. So yeah, I got a very nice plush cow for my engagement. And it made my relatives raise a few eyebrows, but, you know, like, it works for us, so why not?
Yeah, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that, like, considering I have like 5 aquariums and my job right now involves cleaning a lot of aquariums, I feel like I would just end up losing a ring.
I feel you. They're easy to lose. I don't know if it's like a sensory thing, but I just like don't like the way they feel on my hands. I'm okay with necklaces and bracelets, but rings, there's something like too touchy about it that I do not enjoy.
Yeah, they start hurting my fingers eventually. Like, I can wear them to work, but that's because I only work like 4 to 5 hour shifts.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not going to die if I wear one, but getting into a situation where it's like, hey, you need to wear a ring for the rest of your life was not particularly appealing to me. So.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, I had to kind of get used to it. I had never had a habit of wearing rings before, but I had nothing against the idea of it, so.
Yeah, like, if I had to pick a piece of jewelry to wear for, like, the rest of my life, I would go earrings, probably. I'd probably just take them off at night.
I don't know how those feel, because I don't even have my ears pierced, so clearly I'm not a big jewelry person.
Yeah, I've gotten you jewelry, like, as gifts, and, like, I feel like you appreciate it, but you're not a big jewelry person. Like,
yeah. I do wear it occasionally, but only to, like, fancy events.
Oh, yeah. The only piece of jewelry that I would still consider getting you is that, like, giant laser-cut, like, Banjo-Kazooie logo bling that I found on Etsy.
Yeah,
that's only because I feel like you display that.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a friend who's like very artsy and makes jewelry, and sometimes when I like house sit for her, some of the credit that I'll get instead of in cash, she'll be like, hey, just like pick out some of my jewelry, and like I'll find necklaces I like there, but other than that, it's not something I seek out very often.
Yeah.
And yes, I would probably even wear the Banjo-Kazooie bling, because I would have to, right? You'd have to.
If I can still find it, sometime I'll get it for you. Because I saw it and I'm like, this is the most jewelry thing I've ever seen.
Don't stress about it if it eludes you.
Isn't it annoying though when you like see something, you think of a person, or even think of it for yourself, but you decide not to get it right away, and then you can't remember it, and you're like there was that thing, I don't remember where I saw it, and sometimes even I don't remember exactly what it was. I just remember that there was a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I tend to just pull the trigger and end up holding these things for like months for other people, where I'm just like, well, they'll have a birthday eventually.
One day this will come in handy.
Yeah.
I usually, like, I bookmark it and then I look later and it's gone and I'm like, no!
Yeah.
The struggle. as someone who does like a lot of secondhand shopping on eBay and stuff, I just have like a huge amount of FOMO about things that I see that are on sale, where it's like, well, if I don't get it now, I just won't get it. So that probably applies to, it leaks into how I feel about retail stuff as well.
Right.
Me, it's like I buy a lot of like doujinshi, where it's like if you don't get it now, you will have to search on the secondhand market for the rest of your life.
Yeah, for real.
Like there have been several where I've just been like, there was one where it went on sale and within a day, everybody, like all of them were gone. I've been looking on the secondhand market for months for this one doujin and I cannot find it.
Oh my god.
Oh, I'm so upset.
Let me know what it is after the stream. I will look for you. I have a knack for these terrible wild goose chases, so I might be able to help you out.
Thank you. I would super appreciate that.
I'll absolutely try. I don't know if either of you collect vinyls, but that's another one that is a nightmare recently because vinyl has blown up, and what happens is like these things have limited pressings. People will buy them, not even with the intent of playing them, and just flip them the next day for like twice the price. And like that's vinyl.
Yeah. My mom found a couple vinyls.
Apparently it's echoing. I'm guessing it's only echoing when you guys talk. But
Doesn't
I just
sound echoey to me, so.
Yeah, I know.
Huh.
So it's probably just my microphone picking up my speakers because my speakers were turned up a little bit loud. So I turned down the speakers. Let me know if that gets better, if that reduces the echo. If not, I guess I'll look into it more. Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's fine.
No problem.
I'm glad we were able to fix that. I was just complaining about how the vinyl market sucks.
No more echo. Okay, yeah, it was my speakers were turned up higher than usual, and I didn't think about that. The voice inside your mind. Maybe it's Starmie's voice inside your mind.
I say Darman for a second.
Darman?
He's like a YouTube meme.
Not familiar with it.
That's probably for the best.
Okay. We'll keep it that way then. How's that for the pose, roughly? Obviously, I'll need to do another layer on top of it to get the perspective more accurate, but... Yep.
Yeah, it looks fine to me.
Cool.
Wonderful.
It's still echoing, but less. It might just be like whenever Ness and Infinipede and Banana Meteor, whenever they get especially loud, that's when it echoes. That's probably all it is.
I got too passionate.
There's an ad that I hear all the time on podcasts, and it has these two people. It's a vaccination ad, and they're like saying the people are saying the reasons why they got vaccinated, and there's these two people, like their voices don't sound like you, but their dynamic always makes me think of you.
Now you have to find it.
Yeah.
Now I must know.
Oh, I can tell you what they say, because one of them says, so I can throw parties again, and the other one says, so I can go to her parties. And it's just like the way that she says that makes me think of you two so much. Like, it's not so much what she says, like the way that she says it. I don't know if I can find it like on YouTube or something like that. This is an audio ad, right? So.
Right. Well, let me know if you find it, because I'm really curious now.
Yeah.
It's just their vibe.
Get vaccinated, folks. You heard it here from me on the ad.
Get vaccinated. Wear a mask in public if you can. You know.
Yeah, I pretty much never stopped wearing a mask in public, or at least in like indoor spaces. In outdoor spaces, I don't wear a mask, but yeah, going to the grocery store, mask.
Yeah.
Even going to a restaurant, and now here, you're required to show proof of vaccination to get into restaurants. But I still keep my mask on basically until it's time to eat, so.
Yeah.
Mask is drip. I have to ask, I've heard people talk about drip. I have no idea what that is. Like, I don't
Style.
know.
Just style.
It's just style?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like cutting edge style.
Okay.
If someone says check out their drip, it means just their style.
Okay. And that's supposed to be a good thing? Because, I don't know, if it's dripping, it doesn't sound like a good thing. If it's dripping, it doesn't sound like a good thing. You should probably get that checked out.
If it's lit, you should probably call your local fire department.
Exactly.
What are you gonna do?
Speaking of vaccinations, my mom got freaked out by stupid false vaccine info going around on Facebook last night. I had to assure her that none of that info was true and most of it was fake information from Russia.
We all have a relative where it's just like, why this?
God, it's probably a good thing that, like, many of my relatives are dead. Pretty much everyone on my dad's side is either dead or I hate them so much I don't want to talk to them.
Right.
Yep.
I don't know what it is with the older crowd. They just seem a lot less trusting of things that are going on in the world. There's a flag in my neighborhood that always makes me laugh because it's just so insane that someone's flying over the house that says Joe Biden is as useless as the mask. I see it and I just go, whew!
I mean, I would say probably neither of those is entirely accurate, but it's a pretty good burn.
Yeah, right? I feel like I know everything about that human being from that flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, thankfully I don't have anyone in my family, or at least nobody in my family that I speak to on a regular basis, who is an anti-vaxxer or anti-masker or anything like that. But my mom, unfortunately, she is mistrustful of the vaccines, and so like she's taking care of herself in other ways. But she doesn't want to get vaccinated. Mostly, I think she's distrustful of of how quickly they were made and of pharmaceutical companies in general. And like that part at least is super valid. Like, don't blindly trust pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
Right. But the only reason we got it out so quick is we had so many test subjects. There were so many cases where doctors could look at it and be like, okay, this is working. Like, most of the time we won't get a vaccine this quick unless it's as widespread as COVID was.
Well, and also the new technology, the mRNA, it's never been used on a wide scale before, but it's been in development for decades, and it just so happens that this pandemic was the right time. Like, the technology was ready, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And because it was much faster to manufacture and to test, it got ready much more quickly.
Absolutely.
But everything I sent to her
Didn't
about the way.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom rabbit hole a couple years ago where she started watching all these 9/11 conspiracy videos on YouTube, and she just like really
dear.
internalized that it like was an inside job, I guess. It was bizarre. She ended up messaging my brother and being like, Luke, I don't know if jet fuel can melt steel beams. And my brother was like, Mom, I have a degree in structural engineering, and I can tell you that, yes, jet fuel can melt steel beams. In fact.
Oh my god.
So, just parents. They get these ideas in their head, and they really do not want to be swayed.
Yeah. I was just very surprised with my mom, to be honest. It's just like I never would have seen that coming.
Yeah, I promise you're not alone. It's just every once in a while there's just some idea that I feel like the older crowd gets in their head, and they can't really see the facts.
Yep. Yeah, at one point, my mom was like, she was worried, or she was under the impression that the mRNA vaccine, like, that the way it works is by changing your DNA or, like, affecting your DNA. And I was like, you're the biology teacher here, but no. Like, from my understanding, from everything that I've heard about it, it's safe because it doesn't interact with anything. Like, it's just RNA. It doesn't interact with your genome at all, and there's no virus or anything in it. It's just spike protein RNA. What exactly is the risk?
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do?
Just help guide them when you can,
Yeah, pretty much just do what you can.
Staryu and Starmie are kind of based on Ultraman, if I remember right. Says Courtney, and yeah, there's an Ultraman villain that resembles, I think, Starmie a lot, if I'm remembering correctly.
Familiar with Ultraman, but I think my girlfriend watched some Ultraman. I'll have to ask her.
I loved Ultraman as a kid. I have not watched it in many years, but I liked a lot of those shows as a kid. Like, I watched a lot of Ultraman. I watched a lot of Kamen Rider. There were some other ones that were really big in Brazil in the, like, 70s to 80s, until they were still around and still being played on TV when I was a kid, so. Okay, let's see, how does that look? I feel like there is a bit of perspective coming into play there, but I feel like maybe the tentacles or the arms are too thin and long rather than kind of short and thick.
Honestly, it's up to you at this point. I think you've captured the design. I just think the areas where the like if you look at the original art of Staryu and where the like center lines for each tentacle are,
Oh yeah, you're
like
right.
it makes the perspective look a little like better the way it is.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I see
let
what
me
Ness is
actually
saying.
draw
Right now
those lines.
It's a
Sorry,
little
go ahead.
flat. It's a little flat. at the
Yeah,
moment.
like right now it looks
Yeah.
kind of flat.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'll draw those lines, having a closer look, or keeping more in mind where those lines are on Staryu, and I'll adjust accordingly. I thought the warp was gonna do enough of it, but not so much. Yeah, so I have to move the whole middle basically down a fair amount.
Yeah, what you're doing is definitely fixing it though. See the lines where it's gonna come together.
Yeah, I have to shift so that the middle of the eye is basically where all the lines go. And of course that also means shifting like everything down.
You're doing it very
whole middle.
mathematically, but it seems to be working.
I'm doing it very mathematically.
Yeah. By making all the connecting, converging lines. I don't know, there's something about that that's just maybe since the geometric pattern.
I mean that is how I think of things a lot. I find it much easier to draw objects than to draw like animals.
Right.
And drawing objects a lot harder because, like, if you're off in your perspective, it's like very obvious with objects. It's not quite as obvious with animals.
That's true. But yeah, no, I just have a very like hybrid mind, I guess. Like I like being creative in technical ways. If that makes any sense. Like that's why I like book design, because I get to be creative on the design part, but it's also very technical on the typesetting part of like having to make sure that things are legible, and I can also be very mathematical in like setting proportions between like type sizes or between the type size and the line height, that kind of thing. So I get to be very technical while also being creative and doing some artistic things.
Yeah.
So sometimes I struggle a lot with drawing if it's like too free almost. But just gotta work through it. Does this look a little bit better? Like, obviously I need to fix the position of a lot of things, like the bands that go to the outside, but does that look like it's going to be a little bit better in terms of the angle of the jewel in particular?
Yeah, that looks a little better, yeah.
Okay. I think I am going to try making it a little bit like thicker, or like just make them shorter so they can be kind of stubbier, the arms.
Yeah.
Yeah. The eyes looking right at me.
Spooky. Courtney needs to go shopping. Wishing us luck in getting it right. Thank you, Courtney. Hoping to have this finished by next Friday, basically, because this week's video is going to be a new in 51 video, and I usually like to make sure that the newest installment is ready at the same time.
We're kind of powering through this line art. It's looking good.
It's looking good.
I'm not totally happy with the angles of the like bands, especially the ones on the bottom sides, but I think when I removed like the previous layers of sketches, maybe it'll be a little bit more, it'll make a little bit more sense, but yeah. Normally, I would find it quite easy to finish these drawings on time, so to speak. But I have a quite busy week ahead of me, both with like work and with just like errands. But more importantly, I started playing Monster Sanctuary about a week ago. And every time I start playing, I have a hard time putting it down. So
that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like yesterday, in the morning, my cat's like water dish needed cleaning. And so I unplugged it so that I would, because it makes a loud noise when it doesn't have enough water in it. So I unplugged it, and I was gonna clean it in the afternoon. Instead, I just played Monster Sanctuary all afternoon and did not clean the water dish until this morning.
Yeah, relatable.
So, yeah, hopefully I will, not just find the time, but actually use the time to complete the drawing. But we'll see. I won't make any promises ahead of time. Okay, some of these little bumps need to be adjusted a little bit, but to get the angle right. Sometimes I wish that I could 3D model, because like 3D modeling is perspective independent, and so I'd be able to like model whatever I have in mind and then pose it to then draw that.
No harm in trying it.
Yeah, I actually designed I had a character design, and I was able to make a simplified version of it as a 3D model and 3D print it. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's worth a try.
I played around with 3D modeling software not too long ago when I made a video about what I think is the ideal art style for Pokemon. I did some not 3D modeling, but just like using 3D software in the process for that, and it is a bit of a pain in the ass just to like learn how to use it.
Yeah, it's like the design I did was made up of really simple shapes, so that didn't hurt.
Yeah, like I guess if I was modeling basically a Starmie.
You should model a Starmie sometime just for the hell of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I did use like a Blender tutorial and modeled a D10 too, so that went pretty well.
Right. But yeah, it's just I do struggle with perspective a lot, especially on more kind of organic shapes. Or actually, especially when there's things like when there's foreshortening, right? When there's something coming straight at the viewer, which there is
that's
a little
tricky,
bit.
Though. I promise that's not exclusive.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that's everyone.
I know. But I always wish that like if I had modeled this, or if I could quickly model this, then I wouldn't have to worry about it. I would just have to make sure that I export it with a camera with the right focal length to give the right impression. But
yeah, maybe you'd love it. Try it on stream sometime. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
If you don't like it, nothing's really lost except maybe a bit of time.
Yeah. Okay. I think this looks much better.
Closed. Sorry, go ahead. This is related to my Dojin's shoe search. Continue.
I think this looks much better. The perspective looks better. Do you think the jewel could maybe be a bit bigger?
Yeah, go for it.
And I guess I still need to add the spines on it. Mm-hmm. And they're supposed to be, I'm guessing, like perpendicular, like vertical compared to the to the middle line of the arms?
Yes. Yes. Ultimart was a essentially like a flea market slash auction site for like anime goods and stuff, and I guess it shut down last month. It was like a Japanese site. That's insane though. Like it's been up since like I was a wee little like weeb.
A wee weeb?
Yes. I was a very small like 15-year-old weeaboo trying to find my like Yu-Gi-Oh dojins. That's crazy it closed. I guess they had a lot of competition.
Pandemic can't have helped either.
Yeah. I mean, it was an online, like, store, but that probably...
Yeah, you still have workers.
Yeah,
Probably.
and people probably weren't going to, like, Comic-Con and stuff and buying new stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I know from, like, people I follow on Pixiv, like, a lot of people had to, like, cancel, like, in-person appearances at Comic-Cons and stuff.
I'm drawing the, like, essentially the base of the spines first to then figure out the perspective. I feel like we might need to kind of fudge the perspective a little bit.
Okay.
But let me know if the, like, position of the spines is looking good. Does that look about right?
Let me wait for everything to show
Yeah. All right, Zachary, have a good night. It is, judging by what time you said the last time that you were on a stream, it's probably very late for you right now.
Pretty good. I'd say, like, position-wise, that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, because it's kind of like looking downward. I wouldn't want to make the spines point upward. Right? But it also might look a little bit weird to have them all pointing kind of downward. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, we might need to play around a little bit. And also, some of them would be very foreshortened, like, especially the ones on the top arm. Like, you wouldn't really see a point from this angle, but obviously we want to show a point, so yeah, might need to fudge things a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you want them to be bigger than this?
Fine.
I think I have a bias for a, like, stubbier Starmie, because in the early... Well, maybe not so much the earliest sprites, but definitely in the, like, Gen 2 sprites for Starmie, it's very stubby. Like, it's almost like a pudgy Starmie.
Chubby Starmie.
Yeah. But of course, those are the games that solidified me as a Pokemon fan, and so whenever I think of like, oh, what does this Pokemon look like, or what did this Pokemon look like, my mind always goes to the Gen 2 sprite. For like any Pokemon, really.
Yeah, that makes sense because I know you're a big fan of those.
Yeah. So if there's a Pokemon that has like some, that's drawn maybe a little bit differently in the Gen 2 sprite than what it is today, or even than what it was before that, there's a good chance that I'm going to be like, oh yeah, it's not always like that. Yeah, how does that look?
Great.
The spines on the top especially don't quite look like they're in the same perspective as the others, but I think that's for the better. I could maybe point them down a little bit more.
Doesn't bother me, honestly.
No? And the size is good in Finipede?
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I guess I can go back to Staryu then, and just start drawing in not final lines, but slightly more refined lines, and then we can put colors on them.
Good.
Is there anything that I should adjust about the Staryu now that we've done the Starmie? Anything that doesn't quite look like it fits anymore?
No, I still like it. I know I'm not being too argumentative on this one, but it's just good.
You could move the pupil down for the perspective. I think the pupil is in the middle of the like the center of where the lines from all of the arms would connect. But yeah, it might actually look better to move it down a little bit farther, even if it's like accurate as it is. Yeah, a little bit closer to centered makes it less weird, I think. So, cool. I think next month is when we start kind of shaking things up in terms of the Pokedex order, because we start having a lot of single stage mons, and so we're going to start pairing them off as, you know, with counterparts where possible, or just with any other Pokemon that's just kind of loose as well. I don't remember. I think next month is Jinx and Mr. Mime. So, I mean, if this is like creepy psychic types right here, imagine next month.
Oh boy.
And if I remember correctly, Infinipede, you wanted to do Jinx, and
Yes.
yeah, and Banana, you wanted to do Mr. Mime.
That's right.
Yeah, creepy psychic type day coming soon.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
And then after that, I think it's finally another like design that I focus on, that I lead. But I don't remember what it was anymore. I looked at the schedule a few days ago, so I remember some of it, but not everything. Alright, so if the stretch are supposed to be armor, I'm gonna give them a little bit of a lip. That should convey a slight 3D-ness to them. Will the pre-evolutions also be included? No. We have not been touching any evolutions or pre-evolutions that show up in later generations. This is something that we have considered for future, like after we finish the new N51, that maybe we would do the cross-generational stuff, but we're not thinking about that too much at the moment. To be honest, I really want to be finished.
Yeah.
Like after that, maybe we'll be like, you know what? I kind of miss doing those redesigns, so why don't we get back into it and do the cross-generational stuff? But for now, yeah, I really want to finish. We've been doing this for 5.5 years.
Oh my god, it's been that long?
Yeah, 2016. It was February 2016 that we started, so...
Wow.
We're old. We're all old now.
Yep. So yeah, I just really look forward to finishing. Oh, hey Indigo, how's it going? We're making some creepy starfish monsters. Creepy in a good way. You know, I wonder if nowadays they would make any mons that don't have a face.
Maybe for like Ultra Beasts or Legendaries.
Have they not?
I'm trying to think of one because, like we mentioned earlier, Marini and Toxapex, like those are similar to these guys, and they put faces on them, right? They like created a body for them.
Yeah, your least favorite Pokemon, Cryogonal, kinda has a face.
Yeah, it has a face.
Yeah, it has a face, and even that isn't like, it's not a super clear face, but also that isn't very recent, right? At this point.
Yeah. And it is a face.
Runerigus has like a a piece of a rune with a face on it that has its eye, but it's not really like its face. So that's...
It functions as its face, though.
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
Like, I guess, like, Stakataka and Blacephalon don't really have faces, but they are Ultra Beasts, so that's a little bit different.
Right, does Roly-Coly count? It just has an eyeball.
I would count it, yeah. Because, like, original Staryu and Starmie just don't have faces, right?
Yeah.
They don't have even a single eye. We can interpret that jewel as an eye, but it isn't in the original. So,
Be right. They just don't make them like they used to. Pokemon used to be good, and now it is bad.
Sorry, just the way you said that was really funny.
Because I'm so used to it.
Yeah. Delmise has an eye.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
close. And the eye is very much meant to be like the compass on the the wheel.
yeah. So it's just like, with no face whatsoever, I can't think of anything that isn't an Ultra Beast.
I mean,
Yeah.
the only ones I'm looking through stuff, and the only ones I can see that it's like, okay, this does not have a face are Ultra Beasts.
Yeah. For the color, light pink and yellow is...
Yeah, light pink and gold.
Yeah, okay. Is the light pink to kind of point towards this is going to be a psychic type one day?
Yes, that, and when I looked up starfish on Google, some of the first results I got were pink. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Red and pink. Yeah, if they needed to pick a new Pokemon to attack James's head, this is the one.
Regieleki and Regidrago are pretty light on having a face.
Well, so were the original Reggies, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
they
I
have
know,
the same kind of
Leafers was
not
talking about
face,
more
but
modern.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is closer to not having a face.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kind of robotic eyes that only sort of look like eyes.
Right, because it's kind of the same thing as Staryu, Starmie. We can interpret those as eyes, but like, are they eyes?
Yeah.
Same one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then you got Pokemon that have like, okay, this Pokemon definitely has eyes, but like they're weird. Like Cryogonal would fit into that category. I think Araquanid would too. Like it's like those are eyes, but they're really. You look in those eyes and you don't see a soul.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you.
But a lot of insects have eyes like that. Like Araquanids actually kind of look like a fly or a mantis or something. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New competitive team. Pokemon that do not have a face.
Yes.
Team No Face. Can you imagine if they made like online competitions with conditions like that?
It would be so fun. I wish.
They should. Like,
Just insane entry parameters.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Pokemon that have green on the design. Doesn't have green, you cannot enter it.
Pokemon that look like Rhyhorn and Rhydon, but aren't. That's still the best theme team.
Pokemon that my nephew said were ugly.
I bet that'll include like some kind of obvious choices, but then also some really unexpected.
Really-
Like, do you think this is ugly?
Some choices that just offend the masses.
Yeah.
Pokemon that your grandma thinks are Pikachu.
You mean the whole roster?
Yes.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's coming home from work, so I figure when she gets back, I might jump out of the train. It's like her second day of work at the Cheesecake Factory, and oh my god, she hates it, and I don't blame her. It sounds terrible.
Oh, what a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, she's basically in line for a job at our local game store once, like, it transferred to new management, and they're going to be looking to expand, but nobody knows when they're going to open, but she's basically the first person who's going to get that job. But until then, she needs to be able to pay the bills, like we live together right now, so...
Yeah.
So, like, Cheesecake Factory, and it's basically, you have to decorate these desserts this exact way. Like, no deviation from the formula. Here's, like, 50 different kinds of cheesecakes, and they all need to be decorated slightly differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've never been to a Cheesecake Factory, so...
Me neither. I told her it's too bougie.
I don't think we have them here.
I walked into the Cheesecake Factory, like, wearing, like, a tank top and a beanie and, like, shorts, and they didn't even, like, ask me if I wanted to be seated. Like, I went in there looking for her, and, like, I was sitting there with my phone, and I'm, like, looking at them, and they're just, like, talking, and I'm like, I must not look bougie enough for them to, like, ask me if I want to, you know, sit down.
Yeah.
I had no idea that it was considered somewhat upscale.
It's not. It's just considered expensive.
Oh, I see.
It's like P.F. Chang's. Like, it's really expensive, but it's a chain restaurant, so it's not upscale.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've never been in a P.F. Chang's either, but every time I see those giant statues at the one at Crossgates, I'm like, woo, expensive.
I was there once with my dad years ago, but yeah, it was expensive.
I'm just realizing that you, on the eye of your Staryu, you have this, like, thick black outline. Was that on purpose? Like, is that something I should incorporate?
No, that was because I made a mistake.
Okay.
And I had to cover it up.
Okay. You never know with these things.
Yeah, I don't blame you for asking.
I think the only other thing that I'm noticing is that the bands on the front arms, just by the way that they're drawn, they look like they're thicker than the bands on the two side rear arms. So I might want to make them a little bit thicker, especially close to the base.
Okay, if you're talking about your drawing and not mine.
Yes,
like
my
I have told you many times.
Yes, my drawing.
Like, I am not exacting in
No,
how
I know.
Yeah.
No, I'm just finding that they look a little bit skinny.
Yeah, the front ones on yours are a little thicker than the back ones, which is fine.
Yeah, I'll just adjust it when I do the final lines. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. I have never heard of the keg. I assume that's like a Canadian thing.
Well, I mean, we have it here, so I guess so. I don't know. I didn't realize that it wasn't American because I always expect, like, chain restaurants to be American. Most of them.
I'm looking it up now. It looks fancy.
Yeah, I would say that it is fancier than your average chain restaurant, at least. But it is expensive, which
purely a
plays into
Canadian
it as
thing,
well.
though. Apparently, there's 160 locations, and all of them in Canada.
Guess it's Canadian then.
There you go. I find it so fun to try food from different places. I assume Canada is fairly lateral to the United States, but
They have ketchup flavored potato chips in Canada.
oh.
People always bring that one up. It's like,
I only
they're not that
learned it,
special.
like, this year. It just seems like a thing that we would have here, but we don't.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair. Yeah, that looks a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, PF Chang's is really overpriced, like $40 for like shrimp. I don't know why it's that overpriced.
Yeah, like the keg is very good, but it is definitely more expensive than it's really worth it.
Oh, you looks good.
Cool. Yeah. You know, I was gonna do another round of outlining here, but I don't even really think that I need to. The outlines are fairly clean for the most part, and where they aren't, it's kind of obvious what is out of place and what isn't.
Yeah.
So I might just go straight in for the colors on this one.
We'll just tweak it later, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like I feel like I can just go ahead with the final lines and that'll be it. But let's put in some colors. Oh, I did miss a line on Starmie. Yes, thank you. Yeah, this layer. Okay.
Yeah, that one. I thought about that one when you switched to coloring Staryu, but I somehow forgot to mention.
Oh well. I mean, it's good that we got it, because if I went to the final lines, there's a good chance that I would not notice, and I would be like, "There, it's done," and then there's no line on that arm. But does Starmie fire a Death Star laser?
Yes.
Earlier when you were talking about like, oh, maybe it like shoots beams from its eyes or whatever, there's a particular card art of Golduck, I think from the base set or from Fossil, or around that time.
Know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was like, that that's how I'm picturing it.
Yeah.
It's like the one time Golduck looked cool. Aside from our version, of course.
Yeah.
For the spikes themselves, you're thinking yellow? Is that just like a darker yellow than the center?
It was supposed to be the same one, but
Okay.
I ran into issues with accidentally covering the spikes
Okay.
when I was painting them.
Okay. Oh, you need to research that card? Yeah, I think it's from the Fossil set, the one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it's like Golduck shooting a beam out of its gem.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
the cat got in.
Hello.
Yeah. Orpheus.
The cat
Yeah,
got in?
Yeah, I had my door closed, and
okay.
he pushed it open.
Is your cat very noisy? Like, do you need to keep the door closed so that it doesn't interrupt streams or something?
No, but when he's hungry or he wants my attention, he'll put his paws on top of my computer, and he's turned it off before.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think you've mentioned that before. It might be a dark gold duck.
Kind of familiar.
Yeah. I mean, the dark Pokemon cards did have some of the coolest art at the time. At least I thought so.
Oh, definitely. No, he's right in front of my computer, so if I suddenly go offline, that's why.
Goodbye.
It's his fault.
Yeah, just blame the cat.
He's a pest, but oh, he's so cute.
Welcome to cats.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's like, what, like 16, 17 now? So
Oh, wow.
he's an old guy.
Mm-hmm. Dark equals cool. Classic Libris. Exactly. Here, I'm gonna look it up to make sure that we're looking at the same card.
Stick to what you know.
Yep. Okay, yeah, it is Dark Golduck.
Ooh, yeah, the highlight on the gem looks really good.
Oh, I like that too.
I know Orpheus. Keep me out of me.
So, yeah, there they are.
They look fabulous.
Like,
I'm about it.
Let me put both of them side by side on screen. Yeah, I like how different Staryu is. But yeah, like I think if you were not told that this is Staryu, you might not realize that it is. It kind of looks like Staryu, but you might just think it's just a coincidence if you're not told that that's what it's supposed to be. And then Starmie still looks totally recognizable, and yet they still like go together really well. And now the water stone makes sense, I guess.
yeah, that's actually a really good point, because they do look a lot different, and it's like a larva and an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they look pretty cool together.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I will try to have them ready by, let's say, Thursday.
Sounds good.
Although, yeah, it is still not even 2 o'clock. We went through this one very quickly. I guess because it's a more geometrical design than usual.
Yeah, you were able to just like slap down the basics for Starmie pretty fast.
Yeah.
I think that's a fine one, though. It's
Yeah.
fine to have a quick stream.
Yeah.
No, it is. It's good.
Plus, I think Ness needs to head out anyway, so
Yeah, yeah.
it all
But
works out.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to go play some Monster Sanctuary, but maybe I can force myself to stay at my desk a little bit longer to make some progress on the final version here.
Whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. It was a fun time.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, thank you for joining me, and thank you, OBS, for not crashing, or not even crashing, just closing, during the stream. Good job, OBS.
Congratulations.
We did it.
We did it.
All right, let me just double check what is coming up for next time. Okay,
You said
yes.
it
It
was
is Mr. Mime.
Jinx, right?
It is Mr. Mime and Jinx. Yes. So, Banana Meteor's Mr. Mime and Infinipede's Jinx.
I can't wait to see your Mr. Mime. I'm super curious.
Me too. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right.
And looking ahead, the next one actually isn't for me either, because it's Scyther and Pinsir, both of which are yours, Infinipede.
Right.
So.
I mean, if you want one of yours in there, we can swap them around. I mean, we are switching the decks around quite a lot at this point.
Yeah, but it makes sense to pair Scyther and Pinsir.
It does.
The way that I've organized it, I think all the pairings make sense. Like, maybe we could do 4 in one day. That might be a bit too much, but like...
Yeah, a bit much.
Yeah, so I've got Mr. Mime and Jinx, Scyther and Pinsir,
Yeah.
Electabuzz and Magmar, Tauros and Lapras. Those are just two kind of loose ones, but I guess they're paired by both being on Ash's team in the original series.
Sure. That works.
And then Magikarp and Gyarados, Ditto and Porygon I put together. And then there's Eevee, Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon. Obviously, those are all together. Omanyte, Omastar, Kabuto, Kabutops. And then Aerodactyl and Snorlax I put together because they're just the last ones that are on their own. And then Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, Dratini, Dragonair, Dragonite, and Mew and Mewtwo. It makes it sound like we're so close to finishing, and yet this is going to be like a year's worth of streams still, so...
That's fine by me.
Yeah. Alright. Sir Pereira, first time you were here for the whole stream. Well, I'm glad you were here. Probably helps that it was a short stream, but...
Oh, cat's on top of the computer now.
Uh-oh. Alright. Don't let the cat turn off your computer. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Bye, thanks for having me. Yeah,